Okay, it should work. Good morning, good day. My apologies. 15 minutes late. Kenny, thank you again. Okay. It's always bad when you start rushing to get the stream started because it you don't feel as organized when you're trying to get it. When you sat here prepped and ready, it's way easier than when you are trying to remember, oh, I need to start this, I need to open that. Oh, what are the dogs chewing now? Nothing bad. When a teacher hears that you're 15 minutes too late, you need 15 push-ups at least. Morning, daughter. How you doing? Actually, if you get to the karate class late, if you walk in past the start time, you do have to do 10 push-ups and apologize. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I'm on a bit of a rough start today. I went and walked the dogs and took like 30 minutes doing that, and then I was like, I want coffee. So I went and got coffee sorted, and that took too much time. Yes. We need to open. Can I do this? New window. I told myself I'd start in the gym in the morning tomorrow. Still some work beyond getting a lot left to do. Okay. Quick catch up on. I did some stuff over the weekend on the main project. Actually, played a lot with GraphQL and created some views. And I think I'm on a path that I really like using GraphQL in here. So basically, I created a set of views that will allow me to, in my query, that's because I'm not authenticated. I was testing it. But in my queries, I can just go and say, hey, go and get the actual root object that you're working from. And everything else is navigational. And I've created views that are, no. I didn't, I had a sum total of about 2 hours at the computer over the weekend. So I didn't have any time to look at anything or do anything. But yeah, that's all. I don't get a lot of time. This is the majority of the time I get to spend at the computer. Yeah, yeah. I want to give it a try, but there's no point doing that in little bits here and there. So, but yeah, what I did get working was, or experimented with, was the hooking it up directly to a query, so I don't have to do any specs or any extra manipulation. I created views for the actual things that I want to actually present, which kept it, which allowed me to do all the navigation and stuff and do all the joining of data properly, but allowed me to kind of use projections properly. So on Friday, I was struggling with projections, and that's what this attribute was actually to do. So on Friday, what was happening is if I was selecting associated data, I was seeing a select for the main query and then a select for the items associated with that query. If you use projection, it gives you it manipulates the query, so the query will flex based upon what you're asking for. The downside to that is if everything's asking for different data, then you're going to end up with really weird execution plans, right? But eventually it should cache. So yeah, that's what I worked on when I got the time over the weekend. I got those views in there and got this up and running to test, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I might actually move over to using that. Because I think GraphQL really shines for a special entity framework when you're using it in this form. When you're using it in this form where I've got the manipulation happening, then there's not much. Then I'm still building a query that is the biggest it can possibly be, and that's not flexible. It's an attempt to decouple the front end from the back end. I think that's not a great idea. Yeah, so this always felt wrong because obviously I'm used to APIs where I'm abstracting the database away. But if I'm thinking about it in terms of, data protection, etc., I can still manipulate these objects. I can still control these objects. They don't have to be. These are view objects actually, so these actually aren't the underlying data objects. I could actually create a particular context just for the view aspect. If I wanted to even control that even further. But it never felt great because doing it this way always feels like I'm exposing the database. But in reality, what I'm trying to do is control the model. So what I did also do was created this, and again, I've put test in front of everything so I can see it. You can actually control which fields it shows in your schema. So, if I do this, right, and ask for created by user, I won't get created by user ID. That field is hidden from me. So I can actually control at a model level which fields I actually have access to. So this does still allow me to control it while offering the ability to make the model functional. So this does work as well. So yeah, it was challenging, and I think I'm going to proceed with this style for now. Does mean creating views, but those views are now able to be indexed properly and should be able to keep this being fast. I wonder if that has any effect on schema migrations on API endpoints. Since changing interface usually means a different version of the API. I mean, GraphQL schema, whole different ball of wax, I suppose. Still trying to get my head around whether I like it or not, but dogs are funny. From the client side, ultimately, not sure. Changing interface means different. You mean in terms of changing what objects are available, or I'm not quite sure I follow there. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, if you had an entity or a special take something away. I mean, that's always a challenge with APIs anyway, right? With GraphQL, I don't know. I actually don't know how you manage schema properly there. That might be some research in future because, again, I'm providing. So you get a schema reference, right? A schema definition file. So yeah, that's actually an interesting challenge later on. Dynamic schemas. And versioning. Okay, so it looks like they'd recommend deprecation. So for versioning, I'm going to paste the link because the screen's a giant white screen and my eyes are not feeling that flash right now. Because they expose, we could version our GraphQL API similar to REST. It is not best practice and often unnecessary. Many changes to a GraphQL schema are non-breaking. We can freely add new types. So if you're extending the query, if you're extending the objects available, it doesn't really matter as long as you're not changing, as long as you're not removing data. So the idea will be you don't remove, you obsolete, or you deprecate. But it looks like using that code, you could essentially log when people are using it. So you could actually deprecate it and then record that someone's using it. So when you see that there's zero usage, you can remove. It's safe to remove the endpoint, the actual data. So interesting. Yeah. So that would be how you achieve that. So I just mark this as obsolete for now, just to test that. Do not forget to remove this deprecated code someday. Nice. So is deprecated? GraphQL deprecated, yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah. Cool. Okay. But anyway, I wanted to just refresh on that because it was something I was working on. Oh, what did they find? I'll be right back. Dogs are in destructive mode. Sorry about that. Yeah, they'd pulled something down and were chewing things. Yeah, feral. Yeah, they were. Oh, look, paper. We like paper. We can eat paper. Okay, so half an hour in, I should probably do some Godot. So last time, what I was trying to do was I was trying to transition the scene when I got to a certain point, right? So we had the enemies firing. So scene 1 loaded, or level 1 as I called it. Right, so level 1 loaded. We had our controls. We can be shot at. We can die, I think. Oh no, game over. 1,500 points. Right. So that's great. But then when we get to the end, right, we need to, when this gets to the end of the level, we need to transition. So we had level 1 here, and we clearly set that. And then what should happen? Let's close Liquid Sky down. Advising devs that are at startups. Startup life sucks. Oh? You're advising? Gotcha. I'm talking to a guy now that's fed up with his manager. It's hard to give advice, honestly. Yeah, it is. Okay, so on camera stopped. So the load next level works fine. On camera stopped. Is final. Is camera stopped? Is true. If it's final, load next level. How do we remove this level? That's the problem. Does this current level is null? It resets it. We'll have to see how that behaves. I mean, how does a startup life suck? Like, how's a manager at startup different than any other manager? Okay. Let's see if this actually works. I guess how baggage you might be hitting on there. I mean, we all have our own experiences. That's why it's helpful to talk to devs that have experienced stuff, right? That's, you know. Oh, that did load, I think. I think that loaded the second level. I just don't need to, I don't know how to reset. Could be the issue. So, I didn't mess around with their rotation again after initially changing that. So I do need to go back and make them, because initially I had when we got it first working, when I realized the problem, the projectile knew about the player and would aim itself at the player. But then I just made the projectile a projectile again, right? So the enemy projectile is that, and I think that's going wrong. So I put my radar idea back in there because I like that idea. So the idea is that main has levels, and these are pack scenes. And when level changes, maybe. So yeah, eventually I'll worry about them. I mean, they're too big as is right now, so that's not something I need to panic about. Oh, there we go. So we did get there. So we hit the end. Current level. Levels. We have 0 and 1. Okay, so we've loaded it. It is a level. We reset the current level. We add that one in. Yeah, I think it is loading it. It's just I'm not removing the previous one. And then I'm not resetting the camera. Godot has dig to rad function. No need to deal with pipes even when I like pipes. Nice. I'll go back and look on that later on. Like the bullets firing in the wrong direction is the least of my concerns, right? He ran into the classic sales promising features that are difficult to deliver. Yeah, that's a common problem. I don't know. I think that problem's exacerbated by developers that just bust the butts to go all out and deliver no matter what. And they make it harder for any developers to say, whoa, slow down. Let's do the right thing. We're often too keen to please as developers. We need to remove the current level. Current level equals no. Yeah, pushback is harder when when you've been doing it one way for so long. Level, get child, add sibling. So the problem is I'm not tracking the current, the level. Oh, I am tracking the current level. Of course I am. Get child. Move child. Level. Current level. Try that. The camera shouldn't move, but the other level should disappear. Yeah, pushback is hard, especially when developers have been pushing hard to get a product done. And I get our startup life might be different because obviously, like with my application, right? I'm just kind of tootling along and doing things and taking the time and refining and whatnot. But maybe that's not the right way to do it, right? There we go. So it did load it again. It did load it. It removed the current level and it loaded the new level. And then if I bet if I say, his camera stopped, equals false there. Yeah, there you go. Now the question is, did I put any enemies on there? So got the right idea, the wrong implementation. Well, this would be the hardest game in the world if I. So again, what I'm trying to learn there is, okay, can I remove the child? What, you don't think it should disappear? I mean, I think it should pause, but that's kind of hit fire to continue and then load the next level and reset back to the beginning of the screen. So that's going to be the challenge there. Yeah, so again, what I was saying is my application, right? I'm tooling along. If I was treating it more like an actual application, then I would probably be rushing to get features in, and I'm not doing that because I think if I refine the actual start, then I will get a much better long-term solution. But I'm in no rush, right? That event storming thing let me MVP in 4 hours. I think it's my first major side project at MVP too. Right, but that's identifying those features and developing those features. If you develop them quick, right, and deliver quickly, then you've got that cadence to continue with. You don't need to remove child there, so it doesn't cut abruptly. Yeah. So I think it's very difficult for a sizable project to be useful quickly. Absolutely. Anything large is it's hard to learn that too, not just to add more features where you aren't project complete. Yeah, so with Liquid Sky stuff, what I'm focusing on is stabilization, because if I don't make a stable base that I'm comfortable working in, I could add features. I mean, I think at this point, anybody watching the stream knows that I could add features quickly if I wanted to. I could just bundle through and make quick choices and make easy choices. But it's not really of benefit to the entire application structure, right? If I do that, then I could end up in a case where I've got to refactor major components later, and that becomes scary, especially if you've released it to people. A major refactoring takes a little bit more consideration if you actually have an in-production application, especially using distributed systems, because if you distribute data, one thing I need to work on is data pipelines so that I can, well, it depends. If you're refactoring logic, then yeah, TDD can take the, nice. Yeah. I completely swapped out business logic into TDD's code base. Exactly. I'm not debating the need for TDD, but if you're doing a distributed system, right, and you have multiple components that take that data, right, if you make a change to your core logic that changes the data in any way, shape, or form, or changes what's produced, changes how it's produced even, that can be quite an intimidating refactor, because you've got to consider, okay, well, how do I take all the existing data and migrate it? How do I consume events that are in flight when I switch over in production, but then make sure that I can now switch over my consumers to the newer version? So there's schema versioning or messaging, etc. So a refactoring becomes a lot more intimidating and a lot more difficult once you've got to production. So it's why I'm trying to tinker with different technologies and trying to make sure that I'm confident in delivering what I've got, because once I build an application that's a product, I then have to go off and learn how to deliver that product properly, and get ready for the next set of lessons that come along with the tech stack that I'm using, with the challenges of deployment, with the challenges of maintenance, and what does that look like. Again, if you're distributing data, the consumers of that data as well, if those are external, right? If you're producing API data, or you're producing Kafka messages to a completely different system, you can't just switch those consumers off. So you've got to kind of plan, okay, well, I'm going to start sending a message in this format, so you need to handle that and not fail, right? Kafka does have Kafka schema. I've yet to use it. I've yet to learn how to use it. But yeah. Yeah, any I mean, data, whether it be database or data moving around, is so TDD. Absolutely concur. Completely agree. Sorry, that that it's necessary. I think I want to fight for no mocks more than TDD. No mocks. Why no mocks? Okay, so to that point, Canny, I think with the pause, I think I need a new screen that is next level screen, and I show that screen, and when you click on it, it starts. And yeah, no mocking frameworks. Why no mocking? Find it makes it harder to TD with them. So how do you deal with dependencies? So if you're testing, I update a value from 1 to 2 in the data store. Fakes, spies, etc. So you create a fake DB, or okay, so you create an instance of a fake of that object. Reading output to the screen as a spy. Okay. See, a lot of them I feel is, so I've used fakes, right? I prefer mocks for what I'm doing. Hey Patrick, how you doing? Game dev is going okay. I'm thinking about thinking about how to transition a level right this second, and also talking about TDD with Dota a little bit, it seems. Apex, good morning. How you doing? I think my big problem with mocking frameworks is it lets you mock out large portions of the code base. It's typically a bad time. Not sure I see the large portions of the code base aspect there. Like scenes. So we want level complete. Oh, so that's not changeable at all. So does that do that? Interesting. I mean, to me, again, if you're going single responsibility, your dependencies are minimal, and so your mocks should be minimal. Like mocking out a DB call, and instead of mocking the DB method itself, you mock out the repository layer. My usual question ends up being, how do you prove your code runs without any dependent code running? If there's a bug in dependent code, does that make a red herring in the correct code? So, whether you like it or not, a lot of unit testing comes down to your confidence and trust, right? So you have confidence that your code is tested, the things that you need testing are tested, and trust that you will configure the correct things in production. If you want to verify those things, you have to go to integration tests, right? So you make sure that things are wired up properly, and then eventually more acceptance and end-to-end testing. But from a unit testing perspective, I'm verifying that I've called the thing. It's not my responsibility to trust that that thing does its thing, right? At a unit test level. So from a mock perspective, if you're using a fake runs the risk of having bugs, especially if you're doing things like counting references of calls or you're doing extra pieces. You could actually create some weird behavior in your fake. A mock is only as good as the configuration of the mock. So I've used them both interchangeably. But that's the point, right? The point is the unit test is testing a unit. You're not testing the implementation of anything else. So you're just assuming the API will behave the right way. So whether you write a fake or you use a mock, they are essentially achieving the same thing. They are stubbing the code out on stubs. That one. Again, we like putting names on we like putting labels on things and grouping them under. Prove my code runs by virtue of being a wizard. Said most developers. I think my pragmatic approach to things is I don't like, oh, I'm gonna sit in this camp or I'm gonna sit in this camp, right? I am I'm in a make it work, trust that it's covered, and however you get there, fine. Just understand the risks and the pitfalls, and understand where your gaps are. Call me Walt Disney because I'm making magic. So unit tests are easier than integration tests. Integration tests are easier than end-to-end tests, and that's because of the sheer amount of setup. Trying to be better about implementing unit testing though. Yeah, it's a discipline. It is a discipline, but it also comes with, you know, Detroit may be more extreme TDD. It is Beck's philosophy on it. And again, you studied those things more than I have. Because I'm just like, I want a unit test. I'm going to write unit tests that I consider to be unit tests until someone says, oh, you're doing unit testing wrong. Okay, show me how. Show me why I'm wrong. And again, for me, it's all about, am I confident that they cover what I'm doing, and can I identify bugs quickly with them? That could be okay too, but the unit test should help find bugs really fast with accuracy if you have small enough units. It's Godot to try because he lives there. It's weird you learn the what before the why. Gotcha. Do you have any recommended resources for reading about design principles and patterns? Stuff like TDD, I barely know what the acronym means, let alone what these distinctions specify. Design principles and patterns. I mean, for actual patterns, yeah, Refactoring Guru is good. The Gang of Four book. Not Gang of Four. What I mean. Yeah, the Gang of Four book's still pretty decent. I found a lot that while I may do some of this stuff anyway as a dev without having a name for it, it's good to know the names though. Yeah. I'm the same way, to be honest. I don't really focus on the patterns until I need them. So I don't fit code to the pattern. Right? I don't say, oh, I need this pattern. I'm going to fit it this way. I think, how do I need to write this code? And I look at the actual need, and I let the pattern evolve from the need. And when I see the pattern, I recognize it, or I go and research and figure out where I'm differing, and if following a pattern might actually achieve something. So, oftentimes they're a bit too abstract for me. Yeah, say I'm the same way. And I've yet to meet a developer that knows how to integration test effectively, by the way. I've not met one. Yeah, they do. And that's why a good team is so good to hold on to. If you've got a team that has a good rounded knowledge, you have some people that are really good in some places and some people that are good in other places, and you can talk with that team. That is the ideal team, because you can all grow and accept each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? That would be my long-term career goal, is just find a team that I just love working with and are allowed to produce good software. Level complete. So level complete is going to be, how do I do game over? Enemies, game over. That's a canvas route. So we just change that. Oh, it's that time again. Time to move to the right. I feel like strict adherence to patterns is overhandling a lot of times, but that's what I'm writing. No. Strict adherence to patterns. If code reads like patterns, then what you've probably got is unreadable code. Because they'll fit. I've seen code that's written to patterns, normally by people who are studying the patterns and trying to make the code fit to those patterns. And what happens is the code, if you want an example of the pattern, it's not good because it's too complicated. So you don't see it, but you see all the terms. There's some instances where it does exist. Adapters normally end up with the word adapter attached to them. I'm finished. But a lot of times patterns exist, right? So I'm going to open main code. Being that we're talking about it, I'm not panicking about getting on with game dev if we're talking about other stuff. If you prefer I go back to game dev, let me know. it's still in the background. It's still going to happen, but you guys are the ones talking, so you get this say. So again, when I post a message, right? When I post an update, right? I'm posting in here. I'm posting a project. I send a command. This command is this, and it's handled, right? This is a mediator pattern, right? I saw this pattern and I used this pattern before I actually understood what the pattern was, right? Because it felt correct, and that's where patterns come from, right? It's common cases. So the Gang of Four book, design patterns book, is actually a pretty good one. It's a little old now. It's missing newer ones, but it is pretty good as a read, and they do explain pretty well with the diagrams. So here, it's not obvious I'm using a mediator pattern, but it's there, and it aids me by using the pattern in that I can be consistent in how I use the code, in how I write the code, how I read the code. The style of how I do it, again, some people would disagree with this being in here. Some people would disagree with this being here instead of being this called create project handler and have a create project command. But it's implemented the same way no matter what. So the pattern isn't obvious, but it is there. And day to day, on regular code like this, I'm not using a lot of patterns. Depending on your business requirements, things like adapters often come in handy. Facade. But again, sometimes you'll see them. I mean, Refactoring Guru. I've got a feeling this isn't as good as it used to be either. Yeah, because they could put premium content. So they do have a lot on code bloat, which is nice. This is good to read. Feature envy. Nice. But their design patterns, you know. This is common.net. You see a lot of this. But sometimes I feel that the examples are a little too abstract. And I prefer to go and sit down and write code. So if I don't quite get a pattern, I'll go and apply it to something I want, and I'll build my own version. Patterns.dev. Nice. That's a nice site. Off to work. Good luck all. Dota, thank you very much. Have a great day. I'll see you again. Yeah, Do Factory used to be my go-to. Back years ago. But then they did this. It used to be all design patterns. But then they changed. This is more like Gang of Four style. Like that book will use the UML. Yeah, mediator. I didn't even deliberately click on mediator then. You see, this mediates the command, right? So this is more broadcast, but yeah. So I hate myself. Want to hear a funny, stupid story? All right, anyway. We have users. Now, the request was that the users can have multiple user IDs from different applications. So I created a user ID table that references to user table. My users have obviously a DB related ID and a business ID. Now I have a DB view that needs to access the DB ID from the user. A user ID table that references to user table. My users have obviously a DB related ID and a business ID. I have a DB view that needs to access DB ID. You've got a lot of IDs going on there. Yeah, it's the user ID. Which user ID? That's where you end up with very, very, very explicit names. Thank you very much, by the way, Mr. Jones, for the two suggestions on the design patterns. Go back over here. So this needs to be canvas. Canvas layer. And add child node. Add child node. Hey Mojo, how you doing? Good morning. Yeah, I'm not sure how to help you with that one, Kenny. Just waking up as always. Waking up is good. So actually, talking of schema, so I was when I was playing with this stuff over the weekend, I did where are you? Diagrams, show diagram. Oh, nice! It puts my views in there as well. So I was going to post this actually in Discord and see if anybody had any ideas about this. So I have associate data. So to get to a project, I have a planning item, which is down there, right? I have a planning item. If I had foreign keys, this would do the wire up, but it's not got foreign keys because I don't like foreign keys. I'd use associated projects and then projects, right? So you go through planning item to project. So this is the linking table. This is the denormalized. So, but what I wanted is obviously for the GraphQL API, I create these views to join these things together, right? So I now have I bring these two together into this view so that I can still associate them but jump out the middle of this this linking table. Same with tenant users, right? Tenant users. But I was going to post this in the in Discord and see if anybody had any better ideas, because obviously these are like how would you do this? But yeah, that's what sort of thing you're talking about, Kenny, right? You've got this linking table that is associating a it's got its own ID, then it's got a business ID, and it's got the user ID. Yeah, but this is great when you're talking about when you're navigating through the data, right? Because it does decouple these two objects. This doesn't need to know about this directly. This just has this association. For the view, the reason I used this was because I wanted to use GraphQL and be able to say, okay, go and get me the associated project. So I link, if you look, everything's linked by the unique identifier. It's not the actual internal IDs. So I can associate based on them and index these appropriately eventually. Yeah, that's how I decided to do it, because all the actual tables up here. So requirements has a planning item ID, right? There's no linking table there. So that's kind of the exception. I don't know why I did it that way, but I did it. Yeah. Ads are about to start, it looks like. I apologize. Twitch lies as well. They say you got 30 minutes without pre-rolls, and then it plays them in that 30 minutes. So, yeah. But anyway, that's kind of the linking table stuff that I was doing over the weekend, and I was looking at building the GraphQL stuff out. And in the end, I actually like what it did, so I'm going to proceed. Projections were what I was missing last week. That was what I can't remember the username. My apologies. Raytheon. Raytheon was kind of pointing me to the projections right at the end with a link. Yeah, this allows me to build a flexible query, and now where these are using the view, here rather use projection. So now this is using the view, and it can adapt the SQL based upon what I'm actually asking for. So it can get smaller or larger. But again, like I said I actually said in Discord, right? My concern there is it now puts the onus on the querying user to understand the impact on a database. Can you expand on why you don't want foreign keys? Now I'm starting to wonder if our DB did this on purpose. So, to me, foreign keys are easily implied and much easier not to have in your database. So if I create a foreign key reference, right? So if I create a planning item ID to associated projects, or associated projects planning item ID is a foreign key to the planning items table, and then I do project to there, right? If I try and delete a project, I have a cascading problem because there's integrity. So it helps maintain data integrity, but if you're managing your data properly anyway, you should be able to handle that. But it also makes it very difficult to remove things, because you actually have to. If you do cascade delete, you could remove too much. If you don't do cascade delete, you've got to delete in the correct order, right? So they add more complexity in migrations. I don't think migrations get really badly affected by foreign keys, but pretty much every DBA I've worked with has removed foreign keys, because it's a nice idea, but they are oftentimes too difficult to manage. And if you're doing the code side of things correctly, then you should be able to manage this. Depending on the ORM, I don't think Entity Framework does well with foreign keys. No worries. So in here, I want to say fit content. Do I want to say fit content? I want to do alignment center. What did I do? This I did. VBox container. Okay, VBox container, not HBox. Change type. Aren't you losing performance when you don't use foreign keys? How are you losing performance? They're index fields anyway. I don't believe foreign keys give you any sort of. I mean, you should be going index fields to index fields anyway, so the lookup should be quick. Like I mean, these probably aren't, because I haven't done any optimization passage yet, but those should be indexed fields. Not that I know of. Not to that point. I mean, not that an index wouldn't actually solve. But, Yeah. I think because you're not a VIP, it determined that the FK was a curse. Whereas Canny's marked as VIP, he got it got passed. And Mojo only ever said foreign keys, so yeah. I don't know. Twitch bots. So anyway, foreign keys. As far as I'm aware, I mean, I haven't done any. Maybe it's a just the experience I've got. I got yelled at by the bot the other day for capitalizing acronyms. Yeah. Hi, Trap. By the way, good morning. So my issue with the lack of foreign keys is that it's been hard communicating with non-devs. I've had to mentor a couple of data science interns, and well, they expect foreign keys. Right, but there's a practicality, right? They do create a lot of challenges when it comes to development. If you're trying to clean data up, if you're trying to remove data, you've got to remove all the associated data. They become quite challenging to get past. And cascading deletes is dangerous because you don't know what you've deleted. Because if I say, okay, well, project with a cascading delete, I delete the association. The planning item knows I've changed the planning item from the project, not the. So the to me the code and the management of whether I can delete a project should be my concern, not the database's concern. So I don't want data disappearing on me unexpectedly. So foreign keys do create that problem. If you don't do cascading delete, you get all the whining, and yeah, they become quite difficult to manage if you get in a bad state with them as well. But I'd be more than happy to learn as to why, if there's a reason why I should use foreign keys. Okay, so I gotta get used to doing these things. That's the challenge I'm having right in a second. VBox container, alignment center, anchor preset. Oh, that's what I did. That's why I did it. Yeah. We did. Right? No, I need to change this. Change type to VBox container. Oh. It doesn't change its name. It just changes the type. Okay, ChatGPT means also that they are not impacting performance positive. They're even a bit negative hit because the DB have to check for the references also. Okay. I mean, I've never even thought to look at them as a performance from the performance aspect. I've only ever thought of them as just an absolute pain. Morning, Mr. Anhorn. How are you doing? But yeah, implied again. Your column naming, right? Implied foreign keys makes sense, right? Being explicit. This is the only time when, right? I don't call this a planning item ID, right? This is the planning item ID when it's a reference to another column. So I put the table name with the ID. Same. We had to rip out foreign keys at my prior job. They do a noticeable performance impact when used with EF and R framework. Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, the only performance impact I've ever seen has been one of developer performance because they've been a pain. Yeah. By the way, when you change the width like you did, you lose the possibility. The V-bots. Yeah, I gotta get used to these, haven't I? There we go. Anchors versus sizing, okay. I'll get there. I'll get there eventually. So this screen is going to need a script because I'm going to have to do a fire and then I'm going to have to trigger something, right? No, I'm going to have to signal to the game manager to continue on. So when I show this screen, yeah. I've moved to document DBs. I like not having to split my data into multiple tables. And I think document DBs definitely have a value to them. I think for the ticketing component of Liquid Sky, definitely I am going to consider moving back to either Couchbase or Mongo or whatever and seeing if I can't learn the hard lessons there. Because I think the management and configuration of those collections was the hard part there. Size of instruction levels driven. Okay, so that's configuring everything else. Okay, thank you, Canny. I appreciate that. Eventually I get used to clicking them in the right order. Okay, so we need a script because we need to do, this needs to have some behavior. And when I show this, so I'm going to attach this to the game manager, show when I, on camera stop, when it's final, I'm going to show hit, you know, right now I'm going to show this screen over the top, show level complete, and when I hit fire, then do the rest of the stuff. So I'm going to have to. These game streams help a lot. Seeing a relatively new game dev helps with to see issues I can better optimize my own. Nice. See me bumbling through everything. God, they can be helpful. So yeah, I think I need a script to capture the input on this screen and then signal or event back to the main screen. Just letting my wife know that the dog's got into something, so she knows why it's chewed. You really see how general purpose an editor is. Like, I've not seen a good GUI editor in mainstream editor. Yeah. Okay, so let's do. I keep doing alt insert. I really want to do alt insert for this because I'm used to it in Rider. And this is going to be called level complete. If input dot and what an alt insert. Yeah, so if in Rider, if I'm in the code over here and I do alt insert, it brings up the menu. right? So I can add stuff in. And when I'm in Godot, when I've clicked on something here, I want to do, instinctively want to do Alt Insert. Is it my accent losing the T? I think your T is just soft quiet, yeah. Animation editor. Editor. That's a lot of stuff to look through. I don't really need it that bad. I can right click. Yeah, that'll I'll look at later. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is on here. Let me go to player script. Input is action pressed, so shoot. So that's what I want. I want level complete. If input is action pressed, shoot. So signal public action. And you don't like that because that's not actually a signal, because that's public event. It doesn't really matter what I do there. And that can be that. I'll learn more about the specifics of events and signals and stuff later on. I'm not looking to get super in depth on those at this point, because I just want to use the right. If I'm using the right thing, I'm using the right thing. If I'm using the wrong thing, I'll learn that later in some other way when I get more context of the right thing. So the challenge here is not this now. So now I need. This is becoming this crazy. Pack scene, level complete scene, and then var is that add child level complete scene. That's going to be challenging. By the way, I wrote a new generator that's creating a class with all the actions as you define as constants for type safety in case you need. Nice. I'll have to get some time and watch your stream and see how you use that. Nice. Oh, cool. So you can get rid of the hard-coded strings. That's nice. Okay, so this will add the level complete, but then I want to level complete seeing dot on level complete plus equals. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Because that's not part of if. Yeah, let the game go wild there. So, enemy manager door game over clears all the enemies. Actually, that's not a bad thing. I think Godot is like VS Code where the hotkeys depend on the current focus. Yeah, probably. I'm understanding what I'm doing with Godot will be better. If I focus on the hotkeys, it doesn't make me any better at using it, does it? So that's why I gave up. I'm like, I'll probably learn later on quick things, and that's what comes, right? With time comes just more and more exposure to understanding. Oh, actually, I can do that there, but with what I'm doing here. So Wednesday, Wednesday will be a longer stream. So Wednesday I'll do a lot more Liquid Sky. Might have a break in it, but it will. When I get back to Liquid Sky on Wednesday, will be a longer stream there. Let's take a half an hour left. Nice. With accidentally mispress of keys comes knowledge of new. Yeah. Like, oh no, how did I do that? I know that I've disabled one keyboard shortcut, and that's Control S. Or S to Shift, because I kept doing it. Because my habit is Control S S S S S S S. Yeah, or double Shift. You can double tap Shift as well to do the same thing. So you don't have to hold two keys. Yeah, and also you can do capitalized, so you can do make it git update on Control T. Yeah, so you probably got it Java settings or something like that, because you can have your key map set to different versions, right? I've got VS 2022 migrated, so I've got some leftovers. Depending on the map, yeah. So, because that's my primary, right? Yeah, that's a pretty common thing. I mean, you gotta remember ReSharper from JetBrains. ReSharper is 20 years old now, or if not more. I used ReSharper on a TDD course in 2004 or 5. Yeah, 2005 maybe. But yeah, different settings. So that will add the load next level, but it won't. That won't do. Load next level. Camera reset's going to be a difficult one, I think. That, and then let's do. See that. Closure. We cannot remove that child there. How do I get this one? States and index. I want to convert it to the method group. It's not the intention. Go back over here, go to main. We've got current level complete screen, load, scenes, level complete. Let's run that now. So when I get to the top, I should see level complete. Also, I need to leave you. The majestic biological 3D printer seeks attention from his sitting pattern to get out and spread the nutrients. Enjoy, Kenny. Thank you very much. Thank you for the bits earlier on, and thank you very much for hanging out and helping as always. Appreciate it very much. Okay, we're not seeing the screen. We're not seeing the screen. No. Why did that not happen? So that didn't happen. So I have the idea of camera stops, so that if I stop on a like if I wanted to put a bad guy like a boss level in there, I can put it in at a camera stop and then proceed the camera, like resume the camera, and then when I hit the final stop, then because that's quite common, you hit a boss and you do a bit of fight and then you move further forward. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so we're moving. You know what I should probably do? I should probably just shoot these things so they stop firing at me. It'd be way easy to get through the level. Ah. So we F10. Oh. Level complete scene. Oh, of course it's not. Because you've got to go in here. You've got to actually attach that script to that thing. It will help. Okay, so... And it should game over the enemies. So it should remove all the enemies off the screen, right? There's still some interesting bugs possible there, in that the projectiles won't be removed from the screen. So I could still be firing projectiles, and I could still potentially hit the game over screen while I'm at the ending screen. So I'm going to deliberately let these guys fire. Nice. So now when I hit space... Ooh. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. I mean, it's not, but... So I need to keep a hold of this, because my instinct would say, oh yeah, just remove that. Remove child. Level complete. But that's not scoped correctly. So, do I give that a name? Can't do that there because... What does that get? Actually, what does that get added in as? It's going to be worthwhile knowing. I also need to speed those bullets up or slow my ship down. before I leave the building, I want to pull your attention to get tree, change scene to packed that can help load the level easier. Okay, thank you very much. I will take a look. Pause. Remote. Main. So there is level complete in there. So that would be in low level. So you're saying get tree at oh, because we just need that. Right, but that would do. So that would work, but then I'd need the current scene. Because I need to know the current level. I need to set the enemy manager and stuff. Okay, there we go. That works. Well, I say it works, but let's actually try making it work again, rather than just saying it works. We also need to reset the position. There's all sorts of other stuff there to do. So that's not all that's involved, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. So that works if I am doing it as an entire packed thing. Right? So if the entire level was the camera, the ship, and everything else involved with it, then that would work, because then I could just swap out the entire level. But being that I'm basically loading, when I'm talking about level here, I'm talking about the background with the enemies, etc. I'm only swapping that component in. So, yeah, that's why that doesn't work. So I'm going to do var node equals get node level complete, and then this path needs to be, doesn't get a name. So the one with the set name. But don't think. Let's have a look. Let's just do some debugging. We can learn. We can learn how it's used. Yarg. I don't think I'm going to win any awards for game design. But it is working. Okay, so when we hit that now, we should hit that. Okay, so what I want to do is get children. Okay, so the result was that, and we have level complete. So get node level complete. Well, that's not good enough, is it? Oh, it is. That works. Okay. So what I'll do there is that dot q3. So we want to remove that node because we're done with that when we hit space, right? Also, the naming in this is horrendous. If I come back to this later, I'm going to have no idea how this is working because everything's going to be called level complete. So let's on continue to this level. That at least means that's a bit more readable. So we load next level, but again, how do I move? How do I set it? How do I set its position to the bottom of the viewport? Because, okay, let's run that. It's going to run once. That's fine. What I need to do is move the ship faster and the bullet's slower, I think. Okay, so now when we hit that, let's see. So current level. Because I want to, basically what I want to do is I want to set the map to the bottom of the screen, right? Because again, the level 2, let's have a look. Level 2, level 1, right? Because I'm starting and it's halfway up. Is that something to do with the transform, or is that something to do with 0, 0, where it loads in? Godot. By the way, I probably should make sure I do shout people out. Canny is worth following if you're enjoying watching some of the game dev stuff. I would highly recommend going watching Canny. He knows what he's doing. Look, half here, half not. Hi, Sully. Thank you very much for the look. I appreciate it. Hope you're well. Godot set position of scene. Because I need to kind of reset. Oh, no one answered. Set player position after. Because I mean, like I could set a player spawn point and remove that. Fine, thank you, but my space bar is not working. I'm not sure if that should be easy to read, but it was. Okay, also we need a level stop in this one as well. So we do have this, we have an ending. No, not cut. You idiot. Copy, level 2. Ending goes there. Ending is final, yeah. Okay, so we have that. You know, I'm worrying about the important things here. I'm wondering if I need a spawn point though in there. Let's see if we can get the map to reset. The challenge is how do we? Oh no, what was that? Oh, interesting. Enemies process. Radar. Okay, so let's clear them. Let's run this and see if it's an issue with the first level or the second level. Okay. I'm so good at this game. Okay. Okay, it's not an issue with any level. It was just a leftover. So on load next level, the first level starts in the correct place. Right? There's no transform. 0, 0, 1, 1. The first level starts in the correct place. I think the problem is the second level starts. It's as if it starts in the middle of the camera. Does that have a transform? It does, but it's 0, 0'd. That's fine. That's fine. Interesting. How do I do this? I have to drop. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Apex, thank you very much for coming and hanging out, having a chat. Have a great work day. See you again soon. So how do I reset that then? So this is so we add the level into the current scene at the lowest possible piece, the highest possible piece, so it goes behind, everything else gets rendered on top of it, right? If I don't do it that way, then it gets pushed to the back. We need to check if it's null because we don't want to instantiate and then find out we forgot to attach level. If we've already got a current level, then we need to remove that one, which is what's working fine, and reset the pointer. I don't want to Q3 that because then that would get left behind. I don't think Q3 doesn't necessarily remove it instantly. It just removes it from the scene. And I think it kind of waits, whereas I'm kind of resetting that. So I'm removing it and setting it to null explicitly, which could mean I leak something unless I get to understanding Q3 properly. Then we get the first element, which is normally the camera. And actually, I can be more explicit about that, can't I? Now I know a bit more. So the main scene, I have camera 2D. Viewport. Is it? I'm not moving this, right? I'm literally. Yeah, see, I set the player there. So I could do, now I know a bit more, I can do, how did I do that before? Get node, camera 2D, viewport, add sibling. Just being a little bit more explicit. So at least I know what 0 means there. An increment level, and then is the camera stopped? And then if and that'll do absolutely nothing. In the case of the levels, then it will do nothing at all. That's where the camera stop there is needed. So if I set the level position to the bottom of the viewport, I've got to add it to I've got to add the sibling first, otherwise it's not going to work correctly. Current level dot level dot level in this case is that level, not instantiated level. That's just a script. That's the only reference I have to it. I don't have a position on that one because this level is not. But again, what am I moving? What am I? Var level instance equals that, and level instance is not level. Then level instance dot. See, that's only a node though. I don't have the ability to set that position. So how does that work? So, okay. Well, I've made progress. So basically what I need to work on tomorrow is I need to figure out how to reset. So when I get to the end of the level, I get to the end of the level here, right? I'm going to show hit fire to continue. If I go down here, you see how that starts up there. That's the first problem, right? Because I need to reset back to the beginning, so it needs to come down to the bottom of the viewport. But I don't have any control over a scene. Godot set scene position in viewport. Set instantiated scene. So I've got to learn how to reset that viewport or do something to make sure that the viewports. So I start the level from a known position, and yeah. So cool. Okay, well, not many of you left today, but I appreciate everyone hanging out. I know this isn't the most engaging because it's stuff I'm cluttering through as well, but hopefully it's different enough to refresh the palette. So anyway, so we're going to go raid Fullbots because it's Monday. Fullbots is developing an awesome puzzle game and is well worth a follow if you haven't been there before. And I'll see you again tomorrow. I'll be back more of this tomorrow. And on Wednesday, I've got a longer stream coming up. I have the day off, and we'll be doing more Liquid Sky and hopefully getting the GraphQL stuff in there. I think I figured out the dates and stuff, so get that working and get the get progress made on those requirements. So thank you very much for joining me. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again soon. Bye.